Welcome to the Metal Matt Podcast, and today is going to be a really exciting episode because today we will be doing a retrospective on Home Alone 1 and 2, and this is something that I kind of an idea that I just got because the other day I had gotten the Home Alone 1 and 2 on Blu-ray. So I was kind of just watching it, and I said, you know what, this would make for a really good podcast episode. And yeah, and I just really like the idea of having a Christmas episode already because it's never too early for Christmas. Don't believe what people say. It's never too early for Christmas. You know, you gotta start planning early because Christmas is probably the best time of the year. Either that or Halloween. I'm really not sure. Still trying to figure that out. But anyway, let's go ahead and get the shout-outs out of the way. We're going to be doing Home Alone 1 and 2. But first, some of the shout-outs. One, Chucky's Playground, a great place to be. You know, it's pretty much hang out there all the time now. And it's just a really awesome place to be. So if you haven't signed up, definitely join us because it's just a very great place to be. You know, a very fun place to be with great people, great caring, awesome people. So if you haven't signed up, definitely check it out because it's just great. And then another shout out to Movie Mayhem with Spanky and G. And they just did an episode on An American Tale 2, Fievel, however you say it, Goes West. And I never really heard of An American Tale 2. I've heard of American Tale 1. I've never really heard of Fievel Goes West. And I'll say this. I've seen parts of an American Tale. I didn't really like it. But it was a really great episode. Very, very entertaining, very funny. You know, if you haven't listened to it, definitely check it out. Because it's just awesome. You know, it's just really, really awesome. So that's all for the shouts, and now it's time to go to Shoot the Shuffle. So let's get it started. At number 1, Outlaw by Joan Jett and the Blackhearts from Good Music. This one is a decent song from Good Music. I think Good Music is a very solid album. Number 2, Hostage by Queensryche from Operation Mindcrime 2. Operation Mindcrime 2, it really isn't as strong as the first one, but it has a lot of good songs on it, and Hostage is really no exception. I think this is the one song on there that I probably listen to more than anything, and I think it's a really underrated song. You know, I just really, really love this song. Number 3. Souls by Rick Springfield from Living in Oz. This one is a pretty decent song as well. Number 4, Killer by Kiss from Creatures of the Night. This one is a pretty good song. This is one of Kiss's better albums because it's very heavy metal. Number 5, The Family Ghost by King Diamond from Abigail. This is a really cool little track from King Diamond, and I've always liked King Diamond. I've always liked his vocals. I always liked that kind of metal sound that he always has, and it's really, really great. Number 6, Hold On Loosely by 38 Special from Wild Eyed Southern Boys. This one is a great Southern rock song, and, being in the South. You know, you do hear a lot of country, and I really do not like country. And Southern rock, it's not really country, but it kind of has that sound, but not really. So, 38 Special they're alright by me. Number 7, Space Lord by Monster Magnet from Power Trip. I really like Monster Magnet. I think they're a really great band. And Space Lord is a really great song by them. Number 8, Aggressive Perfector by Slayer from Live Undead, or Live Undead, whatever, / Haunting the Chapel. And I think this one is a pretty good one. It's very raw, it doesn't have the greatest production in the world, but it's pretty good. Number 9, Meet Me at Midnight by King Diamond from The Graveyard. Another King Diamond song on here. And this one is really, really good. I think The Graveyard is probably one of King's best albums, I think. One of my favorite King Diamond albums. I really just like that album very much. And finally, number 10, China Shoes by Blondie from Panic of Girls. And Panic of Girls, it's an okay album from 2011. It's okay, and this is the final track off that album. And it's just really, really good. So if you haven't listened to it, definitely check it out. It's pretty interesting to listen to. So that's all for Shoot the Shuffle. And now it's time to go on to the main event. And first of all, we're going to be talking about Home Alone 1. And this one I really like. You know what I mean? This one is pretty good, and it's a classic, for a reason. So basically, the plot is like this giant family, the McAllister family, gather at Kevin McAllister's home in Chicago, Illinois, I think. And Kevin is just ridiculed by his siblings and cousins. And this is kind of a problem I have with the movie. Like, this family is just the worst friggin' family ever. Like, they always insult Kevin. And you really do wonder how he puts up with it. And Kevin is like, this house is so full of people, it makes me sick. When I grow up and get married, I'm living alone. Do you hear me? I'm living alone. I'm living alone. And that's a really good one. And he also discovers a neighbor, Old Man Marley. And Buzz, his older brother Buzz, who's also kind of a lovable jerk, he kind of spreads a rumor that he's like the shovel slayer or something like that, something to that extent, where he killed his whole family and buried them in the trash can. And it's never really, and for most of the movie, it's kind of never really confirmed whether or not he is. But I'll get to that scene in just a moment. So they end up, a power outage resets the alarm clocks, and the family oversleeps, and they're kind of on a rush, and they end up leaving Kevin home alone, hence the title. And once they're in Paris, they do sort of figure out, what they did. And by the way, Kevin's parents are played by Catherine O'Hara, who is in a lot of movies. She's in Beetlejuice, that Lemony Snicket movie. So she's been in a few good movies. And the dad is played by John Hurd, who younger people might know as the drunk in Sharknado. That's what young people might know him from. That's kind of where I know him from, if it wasn't for this movie. But anyway, Kevin wakes up to find the house empty, and the previous night they kind of had a fight, Kevin and his mom. And Kevin says, I hope that I never see you again. That kind of 8-year-old stuff, And he kind of figures that they just disappeared, since he's 8 years old. And at first he's kind of overjoyed with his new freedom. And, nobody is at home. And then he ends up having to deal with Old Man Marley. and two burglars, Harry and Marv. And Harry and Marv are played by Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern, respectively. And it kind of surprised me that Joe Pesci would do a movie like this. You know, kind of a silly little family movie like this. You know, because Joe Pesci, I think, actually won an Oscar for, like, Goodfellas. Because he was in a lot of kind of gangster movies, you know, stuff like that. He was in Goodfellas and My Cousin Vinny and Raging Bull. You know, that those kind of movies. You know. Like, wait, how am I funny? Funny how? Like a clown? Say, go get your shine box. You mother! It's just, so I was really surprised that he said yes to something like Home Alone. Daniel Stern, not so much. I could see him doing stuff like this. He was the narrator on the Wonder Years, I think, at the time. And I think a couple years after he did this movie, he did Rookie of the Year. I think he actually directed that movie. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he directed that movie. He also had a role in it. I forget what exactly the role was. He was like kind of a mentor to the main character, Henry Rowan Gardner. I don't remember too much about it off the top of my head. He kind of played like a really silly character, you know, very, very dumb, you know. So, and I think the most recent thing he did was A Christmas Story 2, which that is just, that movie, don't even get me started on that movie. That movie is just a tragedy. It's a movie that really should not exist, but I'm not going to get started. I'm going to save that rage for a future episode because it deserves every piece of hatred that I have inside me. That movie sucks. But anyway, so they kind of play like the wet bandits, and they burglarize neighborhood, all kinds of homes. And Marv does this thing where he turns the faucets on in the houses, and he lets the water kind of flood the houses. And Harry he really doesn't like it when he does that. You know, Marv's just like, and Marv's just laughing like a maniac. What's so funny? What are you laughing at? You did it again, didn't you? Harry, it's our calling card. All the great ones leave their mark. We're the wet bandits. That's sick, you know? That's a sick thing to do. So anyway, he kind of keeps to do it bad by he tricking them into thinking that the house is still inhabited. And they kind of run into him after Marv kind of does his little stunt. He runs into the car, and earlier in the film, like at the very beginning of the film, Harry was posing as a cop. You know, kind of again details on everybody's home security stuff and stuff like that. And Harry has like this gold tooth, and that's how Kevin realizes that he's a bad guy. That gold tooth, and so they kind of tricked him for a little bit because Kevin, earlier in the film, kind of throws this big party by himself. Like, he gets a Michael Jordan stand-in and stuff like that to make it think like they're having like a really big party. But eventually they figure out that he's home alone. And Kate ends up getting a flight to the U.S., and she's overheard by Gus Polinski, who's played by John Candy, and the Polka King of the Midwest. And they end up giving her a ride. And Kevin overhears Harry and Marv discussing their plans for bringing into the house that night. And Kevin ends up going to church, and it ends up that he runs into old man Murray, and of course the rumors about him are false. Of course, he's actually a nice person, misunderstanding, you know, blah blah blah, you know, that kind of stuff. And Kevin sort of he sort of kind of convinces him to try and reconcile with his son because he had a falling out with his son and all that. And so Kevin returns home. He rigs the house with numerous booby traps. And like this is the part where, and this is why a lot of people don't like the movie because they think it's really violent. And I can't disagree. Like, the film is, at this point, gets really violent. Like, you know, Marv and Harry kind of arrive, you know. He's like, yeah, who knows? Like, we'll try and go in, like, the back door or something like that. We'll try and go out the kitchen door or something like that. Yeah, who knows? Maybe he'll let us in. Yeah, he's a kid. Kids are stupid. We know that you're in there and that you're all alone. Yeah, kid, come on, open up. It's Santa Claus and his elf. And Kevin ends up shooting Harry in the nuts with a BB gun, and it's just really funny. And one scene I forgot to mention. I can't believe I forgot to mention this. There's a movie within the movie called Angels with Filthy Souls, and Kevin twice uses it to kind of punk out people. Like he uses it to scare away the pizza guy so he can get the pizza for free, and he ends up scaring Marv away. Like Marv kind of overhears this. And he said, "AC said 10%." And Marv kind of thinks the conversation is like real, and Kevin does like some type of firework thing, and Marv hears it and like he just runs away, and it's just really great. I don't know what's in there. Somebody just got blown away. Someone beat us to the job. They're in there. One of them was arguing. One of them blew away the other one. It said his name was Snakes or something. Snakes. I don't know no snakes. Yeah, he sounded like a snake. But yeah, that was just a brief little scene that I wanted to mention because it was just so funny to me, you know. And so some of the injuries, traps that they get into, Marv has a hot iron goes onto his face. Harry burns his hand with I really don't know what you would call it. Like some type of heat thingamajig, I really don't know what you would call it. But it's like some heat thingamajig that has the M for McAllister on it. I don't know. But there's just a lot of kind of crazy little traps that they get. Like I think everybody remembers the paint cans. And that was pretty funny as well. And so yeah, they end up chasing him to another house, and they discuss how they're going to get their revenge. And Mari sneaks in and knocks him out, and they end up getting arrested, and they're interconnected to multiple burglaries. And because Marv flooded all the houses because of the wet bandits, and they're all reunited. And that's pretty much the first movie. And the first movie is pretty good. You know what I mean? Just really great movie. I watch it every Christmas. And it's just really, really great movie. Definitely deserves to be, a great Christmas movie. It really does deserve that legacy. So that's Home Alone, and now we can move on to Home Alone 2. And this one I kind of connect more with, because I think it was the first film in the series that I saw. So it really does hold kind of sentimental value to me, you know what I mean? Just a really great one. I remember watching this on like HBO after I finished watching WWE SummerSlam 2002. So it does kind of bring back a lot of memories. And it takes place about a year after the first film, and they end up going to Miami for Christmas. And and honestly, this movie, it's basically the first one over again. They pretty much remade the first one. And I mean, not that I really have a problem with that. I mean, because I love the first one, and I think that the second film does it a bit better, in my opinion, because the traps are more lethal and stuff. But anyway, they reset the alarm clock. They call his family oversleep, and Kevin ends up boarding the flight bound for New York. And the family is unaware that he's missing until they land in Miami. And then Christmas Eve, Kevin tours the city in a limousine and visits a toy store where he meets Mr. Duncan. And he ends up tricking the staff at Plaza Hotel into giving him a room with his dad's credit card. And this is where Tim Curry comes into play, and he plays like, I don't know, I think he's like the concierge or something like that. He's like the hotel manager or something like that. I don't know, like I think he's like one of the higher ups in the hotel or something like that. Then you have like Rob Schneider as the bag boy or something like that, whatever they're called. And it's kind of weird to see him without Adam Sandler. This was in '92, so this is like before all that. So yeah, this was okay. I'm trying to think what else happens here. So anyway, Tim Curry, he is awesome in this film. I'm not going to lie. He really is. Just very entertaining. Very funny. One particular scene I really love him in. He's like, and from the very first moment that Kevin arrives, he is pretty suspicious. So he kind of arrives at his hotel room. And he goes like, housekeeping, in like this fake German accent or something like that. I don't know why that particular accent, but it's still really funny. And so Kevin ends up kind of tricking him into thinking that his dad is in the hotel room. And it's like, he has like this talk boy, which I'm assuming was like all the rage back in the day, And he ends up playing a recording of Uncle Frank because Kevin went in to get his tie. Says, "Get out of here, you nosy little pervert! I'm gonna slap you silly." And it's just really, really funny. And and the Wet Bandits. And this is what I just thought was so unbelievable about this whole thing. It's like, this is like the mother of all coincidences, Like, Harry and Marv arrived there at exactly the same time as Kevin. And, like, I really thought that was just so unbelievable. Like, what were the friggin' odds that they were going to get there around the same time as Kevin, you know what I mean? I just found that so unbelievable, but, suspend your disbelief, I'll suspend it because I enjoyed it. But, he ends up encountering the Wet Bandits, and they now call themselves the Sticky Bandits, or at least Marv does it, because he has, like, this, he wraps his hand with, like, duct tape or something like that, and he, like, and everything that he touches goes onto his glove, and he ends up escaping, and he ends up getting captured by Harry and Marv, but Kevin's able to escape that as well. And the McAllisters travel to New York, and Kate searches for Kevin, and he decides to go to his Uncle Rob's house, and it's undergoing renovations. And he decides to rig that house with tons of booby traps. And the thing about this, and the thing about these traps in this one, they're a lot more dangerous and lethal. Okay, at least in the first film, they were pretty lethal, but you at least got the sense that they could at least survive it. Granted, with some lingering injuries, but still, you thought that they could survive it. In this one, they might as well be friggin' dead after all of these. They might as well be dead. D-E-A-D. Dead. Just, Marv ends up... Well, first of all, Marv gets hit, with 4 bricks at the very beginning of it. He should have at least had, a concussion or something like that. But again, suspend disbelief, And, Marv gets, electrocuted, to the point where he becomes, a skeleton. It's just, Harry falls off a ladder. Harry's head ends up catching on fire again. And, and the sink doesn't work, so he tries to dump it in the toilet. And it ends up exploding. And, you think that ended up killing him, but he somehow survives. And that's really the gist of the whole, traps in this one. You really don't think that they could survive it, but somehow they do. It's just kind of weird. But it ends up going out. But I think these traps are a bit more, they're a bit more memorable in my view. Maybe it's just because I grew up with this movie more than the first one. But I really do like these traps because, I like violence. What can I say? I'm a huge fan of horror, so why not? So it ends up going in Central Park. They end up, where Harry ends up pointing a gun at Kevin's face. But then a pigeon lady who Kevin had been made friends with ends up covering them with birdseed, and they get attacked by all these birds, all these pigeons and stuff. They end up getting arrested. Kevin and his family end up reuniting once again. Blah, blah, blah. That's it. So, overall, I personally like Home Alone 2 better than Home Alone 1. Yeah, it's basically the same movie as the first one, but I still had a great time watching it. Personally, I really love this movie. It has more sentimental value for me personally. So that's just me. You know what I mean? But yeah, I love both Home Alone 1 and 2 very much. I watch them every Christmas time. They never ever get old. Just really very entertaining. And I just really really love them. So that's it for the Melmat podcast this week, and I really enjoyed doing this one because I really love both of these movies. So when I come back, I'll go ahead and do next Wednesday. I'll go ahead and do the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Because I am a fan of the Mario games. So and the movie doesn't exactly stay true to the game. So we'll find out if I do like the movie or not this Wednesday. So Super Mario Bros. The movie is coming this Wednesday. So I'll see you then.